Welcome to the live. Sorry, I got caught up in the chat. And obviously I'm delayed. So when you get caught up in the chat, you might miss your intro. So let's hit record. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. It is Tuesday again. It's amazing how quick they come. Is that not just the truth? So tonight we're going to talk about two things, right? I planned on tonight to just really focus in on home studio tips because obviously lots of people are starting to stream from home. Lots of people are doing conferencing, work from home, even though there's some companies now trying to get people to come back to work. People are giving a lot of pushback, as you guys know. And so we're going to talk just a little bit about how you can streamline smaller spaces, just some ideas, some things that I've learned because I've been in this space. We'll talk about this space. We're going to talk about a number of things that I've done to make the space as big as possible. And so that should be interesting. And then obviously this morning I got up just like many of you, and a lot of the YouTubers that I follow were posting videos on a new product, and that is the DJI new Mini, and it's version 3, the Pro, and we're going to talk quite a bit about that tonight. Many of you will go on record to say, and even I got an email from one of you that normally attend, and maybe you're watching this live. I don't see this individual yet, and I'll say hi in the chat in just a second. But the question was, hey, I saw your still image. Are you a drone owner now? And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what my plans are. As you guys know, I try to follow the peak of the industry as well as watching technology change and trying to keep my ears open and my heart open to what might be new. And obviously, I'm willing to grow and change if necessary. I've had to grow and change in this whole last couple of years as I started live streaming more often on YouTube and then building a channel. Now it's over 1,000 subscribers. So thank you guys. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I do have subscribe chat enabled tonight. So you won't be able to chat if you haven't subscribed. And there's a number of reasons. I will be addressing some of those things in one of the post shows later this month. We're going to talk about that. But I do have chat enabled for those of you to subscribe. And if you subscribe 5 minutes later, you'll be able to chat with us. So please come on in and join the conversation. And in the future, we're going to be doing some more polls, and we are having a post show tonight. So many of you know that a number of months back, because of just trying to focus in this first hour as much as I possibly can on tech and on things that are happening in the industry for live streaming, for video production, really for conferencing. And those probably are probably the big three. Obviously, I have studied lots about lighting. I do photography. I have a number of different flashes in my possession. I think I have 6 different flashes for photography. And yet that's not really something I talk a lot about here on the channel. I have another spot in my house, which I did in my studio tour. So if you haven't seen that studio tour, when we hit 1,000 subscribers, I did a tour and showed the garage. That's the second time I think here on the live stream I've shared the garage. I have a ability to pull a green screen down there. I have a couple of backgrounds, and I've always intended to get more backgrounds so that I can do some other things in the garage, and I can do it all season back there, just pull the cars out, and I have a couple ways of heating it. And so I can actually shoot photography in the garage, but mainly we focus in this first hour on those big 3 things: live, live production, in home production, which will be one. We focus a lot on not only streaming, but also things like conferencing and things like that here in the studio. And I am going to be talking a little bit more about OBS in the months and weeks to come, because I really believe it's an important tool. But tonight we're going to focus on 2 things, and that is studio tips for you saving space. And then obviously this announcement that surprised me today. So obviously I have a number of DJI devices, and I'm going to talk about those. And then we'll talk about the new drone. We're going to look at the website. I want you guys to chime in. If you are a drone owner, please let me know your thoughts. If you own DJI drones, let me know your thoughts tonight in the chat as we get in that discussion. But let's just welcome some people here. I saw Freddie in here nice and early tonight. Let's see chat on the air here. And so welcome, Freddie. Thank you for joining me. And then I have Dennis in the house. Thank you for joining me, Dennis. And great to have you in the live. And then we have Bill. Bill is here. So really we have already three countries sort of represented, right? We have Canada, we have Venezuela, and we have the United States. And then you have me from Washington State, which is also in the United States. And we have people literally that come on the live streams from all over. And, you know, I can look right now and it says we have current viewers of 8. So I know some of you are watching and you're not in the chat. Please say hi in the chat. I'd love to greet you. But if you don't want to chat, that's perfectly fine as well. I just want to make sure that we take a moment to welcome each and every one of you. And there you go. There's Bill. And so thank you so much for joining me. And we'll try to acknowledge some other people as they pop in. And I did a video on popping out the chat. I am using OBS. There's actually a new stripped down and reinvented version of Aaron Parecki's pop-out chat plugin. It is a Chrome extension for Google Chrome. And now there's a new version of that that lets you go to a number of other locations. And I'm hoping that we'll get a chance to talk about that next week in the post show. But tonight's post show, we're going to talk pretty much about, you know, why creativity is super important, why I'm passionate about it. Here's the deal. I just want to caution you, if you only come to the first hour, you're going to miss the other kind of facet. I really want to spend the next 3 or 4 months flipping over the coin and talking about some of these things that really I believe apply. Creativity, why is it important in the world we're at today? I think it's hugely important on a number of levels, not just in this dimension that we're in right now, live streaming on YouTube. And that's just one location where I could be going live right now. So if I wanted to start a Restream account, I could, you know, Restream IO will go to a number of different locations at the same time. So I just send this feed to them and they'll send it out everywhere. And there's lots of tools too. So just because I use an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO to do my streaming, many people are using the Web Presenter HD. There's also the Web Presenter 4K, which I'm probably more interested in. I do not have a Web Presenter right now, but if I did get one, it would definitely be the 4K because I just don't think there's a lot of information out there on YouTube, so I could do some videos on it. And plus, if I ever want to bust out 4K live streaming, I can. So again, thank you so much. And I see TVJ in the house, and TVJ and his group, right? Tony from Quick Tech Solutions, and then Conjoined Technologies, Joe. They had that live stream, I think about a little week and a half ago now, maybe just a week ago, actually a week ago Sunday. And it was all about SRT, which is another way to stream. And there's a number of different, you know, advantages to that. There's a number of different tools that you can use to stream, not just using an ATEM Mini or OBS or all of these other Restream, all these different tools that you can use. YOLO Box, there's hundreds of them now. They did a great video and all 3 of them posted it on their channel, so go check that out. Quick Tech Solutions. You also have TVJ and his site, and you also have Joe from Conjoined Technologies. So check that out. And I always say that is because, again, it is so important. Jay says, hi, Freddie, and we'll come back to your comment here in just a minute, Dennis. So again, introduction, we're going to talk about this new announcement by DJI. I'm going to show you some of the things that I have in my studio and why I purchased them that are also DJI, and kind of talk a little bit about my drone world and what my experience has been. And then we're going to talk about this website and the announcement that DJI made, the fact that this drone is super light and it gets under a lot of the laws, but not completely, and you need to understand that. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight. And so thank you so much again for joining me. And so then we're also going to talk about what I really planned on tonight, and that is how you make space in a small space. I'm going to share some tips. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've done in here. I'm going to flip the camera around and give you a little bit of tour of the back of the studio. right here from the chair where my microphone is, but I want you kind of see some of these things. And we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of how I've used this space. And this was a bedroom converted, and we'll talk about that in a later minute here on the live stream. So again, welcome you to the live stream, and let's do this. I started with, we'll go ahead and pop this up now. Dennis C., thank you again. So he started with the DJI Phantom series and a line M480 and M7 470, but they just collect dust. My main drone now is a Mavic 2 Pro with a smart controller. They key for me is a dedicated screen. Yeah. So again, I think DJI has really done an amazing job. And so maybe you being an experienced dentist, give DJI a score from 1 to 10 tonight in the chat from your perspective. And I just want to encourage everybody to understand everybody's coming from a different place, and that is 100% respected here on my YouTube channel. Obviously, it's under my name, Keith Bennett, but it's Life Journey Productions Studios. This is my den, my bat cave, whatever you want to call it, where I work every single day when I'm not out and about. And I do video production. I do consulting. I help people that are starting out. I love to work with small businesses, especially entrepreneurs who are trying to get launched out in anything. They could be a home business person. They could be a small business person. And then I also have some clients that actually are larger clients. And I try to work all that into the live streams every Tuesday as well. And I'm passionate about the conversation, so let's get into it tonight. I want to know what your feelings are. Do you have a drone? Do you not have a drone? Have you owned a drone and now you don't own a drone? And how have the laws impacted you? Obviously, we have different countries represented tonight, both the United States, we have Venezuela, we also have Canada. And it'll be interesting to have this conversation tonight. And then again, the post show we'll roll into right about an hour from now, hopefully hour and 5 minutes, and we will talk about the reason we need to be creative today. Going to give you an inside look at the Batman display. We're going to look at a movie book that I purchased that I haven't really looked at yet. I unwrapped it, but I wanted to save it for the post show this week, so I've held on to that for over a week and a half. I'm also going to give you an update tonight, so stay tuned on my HyperDeck shuttle. And I do know some more information about my order, and so we'll share that before the night's out. Freddie, make sure that I do that tonight and remind me if you are listening and you got your ears on. Okay, let me know that the video's good and the audio's good, and then we're going to move right on into this DJI conversation. So thank you so much again for joining me. Let's roll. So DJI, right? I have been kind of watching them. I actually did some outreach this week to DJI on their new wireless kit. And to be honest with you, I was going to pull the trigger and purchase it. I really wanted to get it here this month for a video that I wanted to do, and I wanted to use that microphone just because I think more people know that microphone kit, and it's pretty hot right now. I've watched some of my influencers that influence me that I follow using it, and I like the sound of it. So I reached out to DJI and I asked about availability, and they told me that I would probably get it in June. So I did not pull the trigger because I was looking for a place to get it quickly, maybe within 2 weeks, so that I could use it in a show. So again, I didn't pull the trigger. And now this announcement about the DJI new Mini, and it was interesting to me when the Mini came out, right? Because a lot of the talk and everything online was it came under the at least the United States weight limits, and I don't really know the other countries. I know that Aaron Parecki has taken his drone into a number of different countries. Even last week he was live from overseas, and some places he could bust the drone out. Other places overseas he's got permits, and then other places that you can use it and they say bring on your drones. But here in the United States, that you really, if you want to use it commercially, if you want to be monetized, if you want to use that in videos that you produce for clients or whatever it is, then you have to have certification, and that's a whole process that I didn't want anything to do with, so I've just stayed away from drones. And occasionally I have friends in my circle that they own drones and they are certified, or they own drones, and I can just maybe get a still image, an angle that I want to get, that I can use personally when I'm shooting as a comparison or showing clients different locations that we can go do a photo shoot at. And sometimes I just want to get a bird's eye view at the location and then circle where we're going to go shoot, so they kind of have an idea. We're going to park here, then we're going to go here. And I don't do a lot of that kind of photography, but I would like to do more. I thoroughly enjoy taking families outdoors, using it to kind of highlight landscape as well as highlight people. And so I love that. I like to have as much as often as I can people in my shots. And because of all the rules and all the licenses and all of that, I just don't do a lot of people photography because I would want to use it online. So anyway, so the DJI is a great product. So let me bust out. So when they first came out with the mobile, and I've shared this before, but we'll bust this out. So I purchased this, and I have the little wireless attachment that goes on it. I might as well bust it out. And so it comes in this case. This is the first version. They have the second version out now. I don't know that I intend to buy another one. I know they always update and they come out with new drones and they come out with new tools. But I actually shot some video with this. And if you go and you stay for the post show and you watch the intro of my post show tonight, you're going to see some footage that I shot with this little handheld device. And I love it. I can push the on button. And obviously the same kind of drone technology that they would use in a drone is right here. And you have the ability to stabilize your shot. Obviously you still get some of this. You're not going to get with a drone unless there's horrible gusts of wind. So you could get it. If I walked across the backyard and then you took your drone and went across the backyard, the footage is going to look differently, because in reality, this is going to be going up and down because it's missing that other axis. And you can get jackets for like the DJI Ronin S, and I don't have that out here. I should have grabbed it. I forgot to grab it, but I actually have DJI Ronin S, and I've added features to it, and you can use that for any one of my DSLR cameras. I'll bust that out at a different show. And then you guys saw a few weeks ago, we had the new version, the DJI Ronin S2 that Matt brought with him on the Blackmagic Design Cinema Camera 6K Pro. And so we had that in the studio. And so I'm very familiar with both. And so again, this has got a gimbal built into it. So this is a great device. I've used this to shoot panographic photographs. It will shoot a number of stills and stitch them together for you, so you can get a giant pano shot. You can use this for slow-mo, hyperlapse. You can use it for a number of things. And so a lot of the technology that you're going to see in this, I can do on the ground. The same technology gives you even more ability to do it up in the air. And I can take still images with this. So this is one tool that I have from DJI. So I'm very familiar with the company. I do have an opinion about their software, and it's getting better and better. And then I have actually this little thumb control that goes on it. I have a GoPro Mount that I purchased, so I can use the GoPro different tools. So I can literally unlock this, stick my little gimbal in it, close it, and then I can use all of the different kind of original type GoPro attachments. Heard my camera timeout. So I have that. And again, so that's just one tool. Let's put that away and look at the next tool here. Toss that over on the couch. And these are tools I use all the time. So if I go do a shoot and I want to get some steady footage, I can either use my bigger gimbal or I can use that smaller gimbal. Obviously, the video quality and the stuff I'm going to get out of my DJI Ronin S using one of my cameras. I have a Canon 5D Mark IV, an EOS R, and a Canon 5D Mark III, and they'll all shoot HD video. My EOS R will do 4K, and then I can do 4K on that mobile gimbal as well. And then I actually have this tool by DJI, so I can actually hook my phone up to this. I can hook up that mobile gimbal to this, and I have controls right here. So if I want to get what looks like a shot very similar to a drone shot, except for, again, I'm going to get some motion if I'm walking sideways, so I have to do that ninja walk. But this gives me the ability to get up all the way, so I can get this all the way up higher than the softbox above my head. And so this is another way that I can kind of cheat and fake getting drone shots. But to be honest with you, I've actually been worried because some of the shots I get from this look so much like a drone shot. I've been really concerned that I may have to try to prove the footage and keep it in a folder if I use it in any of the videos that I've made for clients. So a lot of times, because of the laws changing in drones, I haven't busted this thing out because I've been concerned about that very thing. And then I'm having a case right now, the original DJI Action. So this is actually a case to let you hook it up to regular tripods rather than like GoPro type mounts. And I can actually change and put filters on the front. So I really like this little cage. It's actually a whole case that goes in. So I can just pull the back off, slides off, and then I can push this out very carefully out the back. And so then it comes out, and I have the door off right now. There's a door there. I don't use it underwater. And if I did, I have a underwater case right here for it. And this has been underwater before. One of these days, I'll show you guys the underwater footage. We even got some footage of some turtles, and that was all in Hawaii, in Maui. It was pretty cool. So, and the boys were jumping off Black Rock. And so we actually have some spinning footage from that. So here is the DJI Action. There's a new version out now. And again, so I'm very familiar with DJI products, though I'm not, really talking about this. This video is not sponsored by them. I just really wanted to share that I have 3 DJI products as far as their higher end products, from the Ronin S to the action camera to the mobile, and lots of accessories. In fact, this is my little this is one of my accessory holders. So this just folds up so I can put my action camera in here like this, close this down, it Velcros in place. Then I have batteries in here and everything else. This will close like that. And then I can snap it like this. And then I can carry it over my shoulder. And so this can go with me. And then I also don't have it with me right now, but I have another case that has a bunch of other accessories in it. I have little tripods, lots of things in that case as well. And in the back of that case is a number of filters. I have filters that magnetically go on the mobile, and I have filters that will go both ways. It'll go on the DJI Action camera, or it'll go on the case. I have one filter that screws on the case. And so again, I'm very familiar with DJI, but I have never, my confession is I have never had a drone. So I want to talk about, still have that out and put it back in the case. I want to talk about this new DJI drone. So let's switch to Super Source here real quick. Let me bring up that website. My mouse working here. I cut the Super Source. They're looking good. Yep. So here we are in Super Source, and here is the site. And this is a pretty cool website. I mean, one of the things I really like about DJI is they always have a great presentation. Obviously, they chose to use some of the major YouTubers this week to make the announcement. So they've all got the drone. They've all able to shoot. That was all planned to announce it. And those videos are all over social media right now. We'll see more tomorrow, more the next day. I'm not in that circle, so I don't have this drone yet. I'd love to have this drone to do a review. I'd love to have DJI reach out to me and say they want to let me do that. So thank you for letting me know, Tony, that the audio is good. To you, that's Tony from Quick Tech Solutions. We talked about his SRT video earlier with TVJ and Joe from Conjoling. And let's see, who else is here? Kevin Crawley. says, hi, everyone. A mystery picture. Good to have you here, Kevin. I'm not really sure why that you're not showing up on the screen. Oh, and then there you show up perfectly fine. So, and then we got Stop and Think here, Hank from Buffalo. Thank you for joining me. So again, people all over the United States, we're talking DJI drones, and you can see this website. So it's the DJI MINI 3 Pro. So there's been 3 versions. This is the Pro version. They have a Pro battery that you can get. I wanted to say right up front that if you are getting this drone because you want to get under that window of weight, right, you got to be very careful because their intelligent Pro battery puts you over the weight. And so that's kind of interesting. I read that today. That's new for me. And so very interesting. Good to have you here, Master Maston Park. I just got into drones with my getting a Maverick 3 on the, let's see, get my mouse off of here. Maverick 3 last month. It's been so fun. Well, that's good to know, man. And then Tony says, I currently fly a Maverick 2. So look at all you guys flying drones. So again, I'm going to comment about my position, what I'm going to do now that this has been released, and kind of tell you my thoughts, but we're going to hold on that. So here it is. Here's their page. It's on there when you go to their homepage. Then you can click on it and come to the DJI page. So it talks about the fact that it can do, it's under 249 grams. But again, if you buy the Pro battery, it's going to be over that. So read the fine print. I love a couple features which really caught my attention. You know, as well as I know, that live streaming is coming up on all kinds of social media platforms. And we know that just because YouTube is the thing right now, YouTube probably is only going to be one thing in the future. And I've already joined a Facebook group of people that are live streaming on Amazon. I already have connected with a streamer that is streaming on Amazon. And so I'm going to learn about that whole process. Am I going to stream live on Amazon? I don't know yet. But my point is, this has the ability to flip the camera and do true portrait mode. That's pretty cool because think about it. A lot of people are using your drone to do photography and getting that nice smooth movement. And if you're just taking photographs and you want something portrait, you would have to crop for it, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want the full resolution, and this thing has sick full resolution, so you can then color and edit later, that ability for this camera to flip really caught my attention. Then you got the focus track, which has been updated a bit. 4K is increased, it's HDR. And then you have to read the fine print to know that it's going to perform best at 30 frames per second in the HDR high dynamic range. And if you don't know what that is, it just simply means that you're going to get more clear ability to see front and back. If you know it's traditional photography, whatever you focus on and whatever you adjust the ISO for, right? That's got perfect exposure. And then things have a tendency not to just fall off because of bokeh. But if you have your aperture out there to like 9 or 12, you're wanting to get everything in that landscape photograph in focus virtually. So you have a gigantic focus plane. That's one thing, but the other thing is the resolution of the photo and the ability to get more of that in that video. And when you're portrait, you're going to set things up just a little bit different, and you're going to want to make those adjustments in post if you're a professional photographer or even someone that just enjoys photography and you want to use the drone for that. Now, most people would probably do 95% out there of their photographs either in post, right? Because they don't really care about how much resolution, or they're going to do them in landscape and then crop later if they want a portrait. I'm in portrait right now. This is cropped in my my A10 Mini Extreme ISO. I'm using Super Source, and this is a cropped photograph. And so again, you got landscape next to me, which is right there, right? And that's typically what people are getting when they're using a drone. And then you have portrait, which I'm in right now. And those are two different ways you shoot. And so like we have people that have been on the channel on a regular basis, like David from Australia is a very, very good photographer, knows lots more about photography than even I do. I don't see him tonight, but he'll probably watch later, so I'll say hi. He's going to flip that camera over and do portrait shots, and he's going to do widescreen shots, and then every other type of format that you're going to do as a photographer. So video and photography is now kind of something that you can do a little bit more with this drone. And I love the fact that that camera flips. And I actually included a picture in my still image tonight of the camera both ways because that caught my attention. So now you have tri-directional obstacle sensing. You got the 4K, you got focus track, you got true vertical shooting, and then you got the ability to have a little bit more battery life, and you're still under that weight limit unless you buy the updated battery. So we're going to scroll down here. It's remarkably mini, and it's got that 1 1/3 0.3 inch sensor. Top tier features. And again, that's an updated sensor, and they have lots about it here on their site. So there it is, opened up. And I love Peter McKinnon's video today. He actually took it off, closed it up, and put it in his boot. He also put it in a sandwich. And I tried to get permission to use one of his still images tonight because I thought it was so classic. He's got it between lettuce and 2 slices of bread. So go over to Peter McKinnon, his YouTube channel, and watch that video. It's quite fascinating. He's got some great footage, and he always has someone fly for him that's licensed and certified in Canada. So it's kind of funny that Peter just doesn't mess around with flying drones. When he's doing his videos now, he takes the same guy with him. And I think there's a video a while back about a fine, but we'll leave that go. So let's scroll down. I don't need cookies. So it's going to zoom in, and now we're going to focus in on the performance. So it's packed with all kinds of performance features. It's optimized. The gimbal offers a wider rotation range for low angle shots and true vertical shooting, allowing endless creative opportunities. Every aspect of this facelift has been carefully considered to take Mini to a never before height. So it looks like they've been spending some time making these adjustments, giving you the ability to do more, because people literally are doing those low shots with the drone. And it's really, in some respects, replacing a lot of B-roll. So, because again, why set up a big, gigantic dolly, right? If you can get that nice shot, that tracking shot with a drone. So a lot of people are doing that. Think of the investment. And so if you know how to fly it, you know how to do those kind of moves, then you literally can get some pretty amazing shots by using a drone. And I have, like I said, I have used drones on projects. I just have other guys in my circle of influence that have them. I just have never been the guy to take the leap. Even my son-in-law had a DJI Maverick Pro and flew it into the side of a mountain. So it folds up and tucks away. Again, Peter McKinnon put it inside his boot, has the weight right on the side of it. I guess that's so you can whip it out. And then here you have capture and explore more of your surroundings with extended flight time up to 34 minutes. And obviously there's certain specs of how you need to be flying and what kind of day it needs to be to get that kind of time out of it. DJI Mini 3 Pro Intelligent Flight Battery is ultra lightweight and has enough power to cover your aerial photography needs. And again, if my understanding is correctly, you can look at the fine print question answers. That intelligent battery puts it over, unless I completely missed that. And if I did, I'll apologize and retract that later. But that was in the Q&A here on the site, and I did spend some time here, as you can see today. So a little bit of footage flying by. I don't want to get flagged here, so we're going to continue scrolling down. And then I love this F24, and love how this video flies in here to show us the sensor. Let's do that again. So you got F24 aperture of 24 and 1.7, and you can look at the fine dots in this sensor. And if you know how small these sensors are, this is pretty amazing. So it's a CMOS sensor, features dual native ISO, and supports its direct output of HDR footage. Every image is enriched with a higher dynamic range to reveal more detail in the highlights and shadows. And again, understand if you're using it in photography, not every photograph you're going to want to take is high dynamic range. So keep that in mind. So And I keep getting this wrong, so I will put that on the screen. I think I said Bluffton, South Carolina, 895 miles from Buffalo. Thank you, Stop and Think. And Master Park is right there with you. He thinks that's crazy. And he's going to test out streaming from his Maverick 3, my ATEM Extreme ISO via the RC Pro controller. Yeah, again, you can stream now too from these devices. And I have done that not too long ago, a number of years now. We were at a event and I was there with my team working for a large RV company here in the Northwest. And one of my responsibilities was to be the host for live streaming and also doing videos and interviewing reps and all of that. And even sometimes being on microphone inside the big tent. And one of my responsibilities was to do live streaming. And so we decided one time we would start a whole live stream from a drone. And so we went live from the drone app, and the drone was on me, obviously making some noise. So we decided to launch it from the back of a tent trailer, which is like a pop-up trailer, which was the perfect height. And so it was sitting there, we went live, and then we fired up the blades, and it took off and flew over the event. And that was live all over the Northwest United States. Again, that got lots of footage. And we were able to, because that was prior to, I think, all the laws changing, we were able to use drone footage back then in our commercials. And so a lot of our commercials for television had drone footage in it as well. So, okay, so not only do you have some changes in the sensor, not only do you have changes in the look and the ability to flip the camera, you also have 4K HDR video. So pretty awesome, 1080p at 120 frames per second, 48 megapixel photos. That's, again, pretty incredible, especially that you can flip it now and get all of that resolution in portrait. That 48 megapixels is way higher than my cameras, but again, my cameras will do a lot more in lower light, I believe, than these cameras, and I'm still doing research about how they perform or how this new sensor will perform in low light. Because they're talking about in this video that you can do it day and night. And so I love the fact that this now, and the reason I haven't pulled the trigger is if I ever get a drone, it's going to definitely have to have the ability to be safe. And so we're going to wrap this conversation up and give you a chance to maybe pop in, give some Q&A with this little statement. I am considering now getting a DJI Mini 3 Pro because I think there's just some potential now. The price, I do have some hurdles I have to go through because I would 100% use it for commercial. I am in the middle of working on getting a client. It would be a very large client for a period of time. And so about the same period of time I would be working with them that I would need to have someone else do the drone work for me. So I'm going to have to be hiring that out. And by the end of that, if we extend, I might possibly be able to be all set and be able to say, hey, if we continue working together, I now don't even have to charge you anymore for the drone work. I now can do that myself and raise my value for this particular client. And again, there's other clients and I have businesses that I would love to do more flyovers, but I'm trying to keep my prices low enough to let small businesses get engaged. And so I just don't go out and hire some of my drone circle operators here in the Tri-Cities area, which is Kennewick, Pasco, Richland, even though there's more cities than that. So let's talk a little bit about this. Your thoughts on this drone, the fact that it has 3 directions. So here's direction 1, play it again. There's those directions and back directions. So you should pretty well be able to fly this safely. So if it's out of sight and you get behind something, you can see it here flying through these obstacles, and you guys can play this video later. And then you can see that you have clear and stable from city or valley, and you have the ability to use these devices. And I'm just pretty impressed with what this little device can do. And again, this is DJI's website, and you can do Panorama shots, which is pretty cool as well. So I could see, guys, how this tool could really jump over into my world. How about you? And yes, I would definitely need to get my Part 107 certification if I plan to fly commercially. Yeah, and I've looked into this. I even had a friend that said that he would do the class with me. And so thank you, Tony. If you guys have the certification and you're here in the States, let me know. And if you don't have it, keep that in mind. If you're going to do anything commercially, you need to have the certification. You need to follow the rules. There's lots of places you can't fly, many places here in the Tri-Cities because of airports. And, you know, we have an airport here in Richland that's mainly people are flying in and out of that with private planes. And then we have a big airport over in Pasco, and there's a distance from that. We also have a government-controlled mountain here called Snake Mountain, which is all closed and so many miles away from that. And so you really have to make sure that you're aware of what the rules are before you get into drones. But that doesn't change the fact that just because there's limits that you wouldn't or shouldn't pursue a drone. So again, I'd love to get your inputs. I do want to talk about ways to keep your space available to you in your studio. That was the main focus of what I wanted to do tonight, but this is just too important not to discuss the DJI drone. So am I going to get one? The jury's still out. I plan on doing some more research tomorrow. I'm going to talk to a couple of my friends. There's a couple of you here in the chat that I may reach out to. And I also wanted to say this. If you would like to be able to communicate with me, just do this. What happened? Go to my website, Life Journey Production. I'll put the link in the description. Fill out this form. I won't spam you. Occasionally, I'll send an alert out, a little newsletter about some big event. And I think it's like maybe 4 or 5 times a year. But if you fill out this form, I'll have your email, and then we can talk through email about drones. And I would love to get your input. Some of you I already have exchanged emails with, and so maybe some of you guys that have exchanged emails with me can give me kind of some input in those emails as well, because I do like to gather information before I make a major purchase like this. And it's not a big purchase financially. I mean, it's money, right? And I'll just dedicate some of the money that comes in from my clients to be able to add more ability to serve them. And I love the idea of not having to have other people come in to get those things, because it's just more coordination. But because it's so infrequent, I haven't felt the need. But this new potential client would be somebody that I would probably use a drone quite often. So they're going to have to, when we convince them to use a drone, we're going to have to bring someone in to do that. And they have a number of business locations. So pretty incredible. So here's what Tony says. I have the Part 107, and it's good for 24 calendar months. Studying now for my recurrent. New laws as of April 2020 now let you take recurrent online instead of a FAA testing center. I know. Is it not crazy? So, and let me just say this. I totally get it, right? Yeah, drone. Everybody buys a drone. They're flying it up there. Plane runs into it. You know, obviously there's reasons for the regulations. There's reason for those guys to get involved. Tony adds this. Also, the recurrent is now free instead of having to pay every 2 years. And that's awesome. I'm excited about that. So, and I'm not really at 60 years old. I'm not really into tests. I'm not into studying for a test. I like to study. I learn new things almost daily. I'm constantly trying to enrich myself, but I don't like taking tests because of the pressure. And so again, I just like to avoid that. But obviously, if I want to take this leap and there is a chance it might happen, then I would have to take those tests, and I want to be completely legal. I love to do things right the first time so I don't have to clean up the mess later on. So again. Okay, so I'm going to change gears. Thank you so much for your input. Those of you guys that told me what you're doing, what you're flying, that's so cool. I'd love to hear more from you. So please, at least today, if you have time, or tomorrow, sit down and real quickly, give me your thoughts on this drone. Those of you that have drones, after you read about it, and if you think this is where I should dive in, or should I dive in at a different place. You know the things now I like. And if you're watching this later and you're going to send me an email, please listen to kind of my thoughts about what really captured my attention. Like, again, the ability to flip it over and do portrait, and some of the ability to pan that you can do now with this little Mini. And I understand that the technology in the bigger drones don't necessarily get in the smaller drones, but it looks like a lot of that technology made it. So again, love to get your input. So let's switch gears again. Obviously, one of the things that I have had to do jumping into this small space is I've had to figure out, you know, what to do with things like these lights. And if I pop this in, I'm going to disappear for a minute, but I just want to talk over this slide for the fun of it. So here I am with my Manfrotto auto pull, and which is great because before the auto pull, this is what I was doing. So if I wanted some backlighting on my shoulders, these are obviously lowered down so that you could see them in the shot. And this is when I was doing my video on my Manfrotto auto pull. I'll put it in the links tonight. And you guys can look at that video if you haven't seen it already. But I needed to get those lights up. I have a limited space. This is like 11 by 10. And I think it's like 10 and 4 inches and just under 11 inches. So I just call it 11 by 10 room. And it was a bedroom in my house. Next door to it is the bathroom. And I actually put extra insulation. So all the walls that have insulation in them. The room between my son and mine, when we had this house built, I added extra insulation blown in, as well as some foam board to cut down on the noise. Again, to try to give it some soundproofing and cut down on some of the, again, a room that's a sheetrock is on a 6-inch wall is different sounding than sheetrock on a 2x4 wall. And I've learned all that through having a recording studio, and I understand soundproofing. But what I didn't do is put hat channel up there with isolation brackets and green glue, which is acoustic glue you put between 2 layers of sheetrock. And the best way to do that is to have 2 different size layers of sheetrock. So you have a 6-inch wall, then you have R30 insulation in that wall, then you have isolation brackets on all the 2x4s. Those isolation brackets, you can snap hat channel in, and we talked about this a number of weeks back live, and then you can screw sheetrock on to that hat channel, and then the second layer of sheetrock, you squirt glue on the first layer, green glue, it's acoustic glue, it never dries, and then you stick the sheetrock on there, screw it in, and now you've got this layer of sound deadening as well as proofing from the noise outside. But I didn't do that in here. I have a dual pane window. So I haven't done that. And I've been able to do live streaming in here using a dynamic microphone. Condenser microphones a lot of times will pick up noise in the studio, and I do have condenser microphones, but I needed some way of getting these lights up. And so here's what I have now. Those lights are up behind me, and I used an auto pull, guys, because I'm a firm believer that mobile is better than permanent. In fact, above my head, and I'm going to show you guys this tonight. So let's turn the live stream off and let's go into tethering my iPhone. And after we tether this, go back into Filmic Pro. Filmic Pro is ready, and then we're going to switch cameras right here. That. Take the chat off the air so it doesn't mess things up. Do that again, or chat on the air, off the air. Okay, and then let's cut to this camera right here. And we're going to go into super source layouts and mix effects. Sorry, guys. This is what I want to do it so I can be on with this. Camera 2. Okay, so here I am in my studio. I got my chat on my Wacom tablet, got my main camera that you guys see me in all the time. And then obviously, you know, the view behind me. And then I have this bar going across. And so first thing I want to say is I have some permanent mounts that hold up my UL 150s. Now these are giant lights because they don't have a fan. So they're super quiet. I recommend them. Godox has now the UL 150, which has got this big gigantic heat sink on it and no fan. So I can have it at 100% with no fan noise. It's great for shoots. I can pull these lights down and take them mobily. I have 3 other lights that I have in a mobile kit in my garage. But on a giant shoot, I would take all of these lights. And so I need a mobile. And so I have these permanently mounted on those brackets up there. And so I'm all about being mobile, and that I'm not. And I have another one right there. And I have that, using that as a light to just go around the side of that TV. So I can put a softbox up there if I needed to. Right now I don't have the softbox on. I just have the shutters, the barn doors. And so that is just putting some light right here. And then I have these lights mounted on a bar. And so the second thing I wanted to talk about in a second is what I did with my desk. But then again, there's the lights. I have 2 RS1 or 50 RS lights. They're multicolor, so they can do all the gamuts of white, so from daylight to really warm. And then they also will do RGB. They're not really high-end lights. I think that kit, that light and the other light and the stands that came with it, and there's a little diffuser that slides in behind the barn doors. But I have those mounted on a auto pole too, and they also have Manfrotto has the auto poles, the 1 and the 2. You can use either one, and these can be mounted vertically or horizontally on the walls. You do have to be aware that if you move it, which is why I have that, I can release that lever and I can literally move those lights to a different location. So what that did is it got them up off of the ground. So now I don't have light stands. And those of you that have used light stands, you know the issue with light stands, right? Light stands actually take up space on the floor. And so if you have a big room like some of you do, like I know that I did the watched the studio tour of Tony from Quick Tech Solutions, and he has a nice big bonus room that he's turned in. His drums are in there. So if you have lots of room, it's not an issue. But many people are trying to stream from their home. They're trying to stream from a room in their house or maybe the corner of their bedroom. And so getting lights out of the way are super important. So think about this. If you put an auto pull up, you can use these clamps. So I brought it with me tonight. So you can use one of these clamps by Manfrotto, and Impact makes these. You can pull out this little bracket and use it on a pole, right? So you can put this on a Manfrotto pole, and I have 2 of these up on that Manfrotto pole. So you hook this on the pole, and then the lights hang from ears, and I have 2 of them on here because I use this for a little mobile deal in my studio. I took it down today, but I'll be using my face cam in part 2 tonight, the post show. But so I have 2 of these extensions on it, and if I take this one off, this will screw right into like the Elgato key lights, the key light Air. So you can even use it on the Key Light Mini, and I love those lights because you can control them from the Stream Deck and be able to turn those lights on and off all together and save the settings in a single button in your Stream Deck. And how easy is that? But to save room, I got these up. So I have pretty much very little in my studio on stands. I do not have right now a mic stand. This is a boom arm that can slide out of my way, again, mobile. I have this bar that's mounted above my desk that I put in, and we'll talk about where I'm at with my desk here in just a second. Sorry about that. We'll put this back in there. So you can clamp it to a desk with this little insert in, again, and you can take it out and clamp it to a pole with that insert out. And then again, you can snap in these brackets here, or they can screw in right here. And you can use these for a background stand as well. I have a little device that slips in right here. And then you can take a background pole, and it's a little hanger. And I don't have it with me, but it just pops in here. You screw it tight, and it's just a hanger. So you can hang a pole there. And You could put this on a pole across the room and hang the paper like that, or you can put the poles vertically and then just turn that 45 degrees and hang it this way on auto poles. So 2 auto poles with the extension, you can get to some pretty high ceilings and have a portable background or use it for lights. So you can mount lights on it. And again, if you don't want light stands on the ground, if you're working with a client like above their desk, or you're trying to get a shot, space is a premium. And so I'm not just talking to people that are trying to do a home studio, but I'm talking about people that were, anytime you're shooting, space is a huge premium. And that's super important to have these ways to get things up. So even for my DJI Action, I have this GoPro clamp that I can clamp on shelves. I could clamp it on a bike or something that's round, a smaller pole, and then I can position this. And I've had this up on top of a bookshelf. I've had it on my shelves. I've had it back there on that corner shelf. So again, getting it up off the ground when there's limited space. So all you have on the ground, right, is your bigger lights when you need to shoot at a location or you're outdoors rather than fighting that indoors. So second thing I want to talk about for space saving is, little do a lot of people know, and let's go back to this other view. Make sure I'm still live here. What happened? Let's get out of this. Retether here so I don't show you my Apple TV. I'm retethered. Let me get back in here to this and let's switch back. Are we ready? Yes, we're ready. So I have the pole going across there and that keeps everything up. And this is actually a closet, guys. So tip number 3 is going to be this up here, but let's talk about this desk. This desk is actually inside the closet. So there's the closet door slider frame. There's the other side of the closet. I had them build this without the frame on that side. So that means that I had to pay for a little bigger closet door. But so that is where the 2 doors go, and they're in my garage right now with all the hardware. So if I ever sell this house, I can put it back. But I have my corner desk literally, I'm sorry it's so messy. There's my notes on the DJI new gimbal. There's my laptop. So this desk was in my bedroom where I had my office, and this was my man cave. It's in the closet. So this whole end fits inside the closet. So I'm in the closet to save space. And then I was able to reinforce that and put all of my cases. I can put 3 or 4 cases up there. So I have cases up there that have my monitors in it for my cameras. I have cases up there that have lenses. I have cases up there that have wireless microphones, all kinds of things up there. And then that little PVC pipe just keeps that pipe from turning. That was the only way I could keep it because I had to put this in after we built the house. And so that's huge. So those things can go back and forth there for being portable. I even have a stand on the back of this TV stand mounted to the wall. So this TV right here, guys, is mounted to my wall and it's movable. So I don't have to have a stand on the ground like some people have rolling stands. This actually mounts to the back of that wall. And then I have this Elgato light stand on there. And then there is my little key light mini, which is a hair light. I use these clamps so I don't have to try to find room behind my desk for my cameras. And that's on my Batmobile that I'll be talking about in the post show. And I have another clamp right there. And then I have another clamp up there for my desk camera, which we'll be using in the post show tonight. So again, getting all of this stuff. And then I have monitor stands behind my desk, which keeps me from sliding my desk all the way in. But I could gain probably about 2, 4, 5 more inches because I need to have room for my adjustable arms and for this. But and I could put those speakers on shelves, but I'm fine with the space that I have. And so then I have my subwoofer right here and I have my PC on top of it. And I have room in this small room for 1, 2, 3 chairs. I got my shelves up there. And that Manfrotto auto pole can move above my head if I need it, or if I have a talking head job to do in here and I want to move the lights. I can even take the auto pull and go the other direction and set up by my TV for a different look, have that giant TV screen behind me. So again, being portable is super important if you're in a small room. So not only can you put a desk inside the closet, not only can you reinforce the inside the closet to have a shelf above your head, I'm even using that with a sound blanket to deaden the sound behind my desk so I don't get a lot of extra reflections off of that wall. And then there's a lot of stuff over here helping stop the sound from just bouncing right off the sheetrock wall. So again, getting those lights all up off of the ground. So all of the lights in my studio right now are mounted up off the ground, including my key light mini. Both of my DJI or my Elgato key lights are on the pole. I have two Godox UL150s up above my head that I can put soft boxes on, though they can't move. So they're going to come down eventually and be on another auto pole, probably two auto poles, because I don't know if I trust the weight with soft boxes and all there. So make sure you're careful about that. And then I have the Manfrotto auto pole back there, and you can see that one light that shows up in my normal streams that's lighting up mainly that corner right there, and it provides a little backlighting. So all of that is up off the ground. So I have all the floor space, and then I got all my cables up off the floor pretty much now, and I organized under there, and I have a video about that here. So my point tonight, guys, is there's lots of ways for you to get a big production in a tiny space. You just need to start using some of those tools. Even, let me show you this, even my iPad is up off my desk. That's got mix effects on it, but it's on a flex arm, and that's mounted to my shelf. So it's even floating up off my desk. That means I can put stuff underneath it. I can get to the little disc reader that's underneath there, kind of back behind it. And I can also move it out of the way or reposition it. This is mobile, and I can move it over here. And so you can see my desk. I've got all of this stuff on my desk, and my desk is getting very, very, very full. So there's lots of ways for you to optimize space again, but if you don't think about it as you're building your studio, if you don't process this or don't talk about it, then you may end up with all of these stands and all of this stuff on the ground that just are in your way, and now you're tripping over everything. So keep that in mind. That's just three big things: the desk inside the closet, pulling the closet doors off, my Manfrotto auto pull. Obviously, I do have some lights holders mounted to my ceiling for my Godox lights. That's really another thing that's going to get replaced with Manfrotto auto pulls eventually. And then I have that bar and that shelf up there to put all of that stuff. So I don't have cases. I don't have to have a rack inside this small space where I put all my gear, and I don't have to take up a closet someplace else. It's right here for me to get down and pull out when I'm putting a bag together to go on a shoot. So here's the other thing too. I will get one of my backpacks all loaded up with whatever I need for a specific shoot and throw that in the back of my car. I have that Manfrotto pulling wheeled stand or case that I have my other lights in, and then I have an extra light in a Rubbermaid tub if I ever need it. A lot of times I go shooting with two lights, and then I'll pull down one of my 50 RSs off of the Manfrotto pole to take with me, and I have a nice case that came with those two lights. So again, that's kind of my thoughts on ways to get yourself in a small space and make it usable by using some of these tools. Some of the flex arms from Manfrotto with the camera brackets and these clamps. I even have this, I think, is Impact. It's a little adjustable, one knob. I can go different directions, so I'll use this a lot. I only have one of these, and I have lots of things in a bag like this that I take on shoots with me. You never know when I'm going to have to position a light funky. I have these to do that. So again, that's kind of how I've done things in my studio. I wanted to share that. And if you have any questions, let's take a few minutes to do that before we roll in to the post show. So Hank says, let's hit chat on the air here, which will help get him on the air. Have to change back to that. So this is a good question. So do I white balance? Yeah. When I'm doing a professional shoot, I always white balance. So I have a light meter. It's a Sekonic that I'll use to get good light readings. The reason I use a light meter, Hank, is because I want to know, my eyes can't necessarily know exactly what the light is and what my aperture needs to be set at. And when you're fighting with windows and you're trying to figure out, do I need to cover this window? Do I need to change our position? I can just take my light meter and look at what the light is coming in from a window. So let's say we're going to set up for a shoot at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for a dealership, like a car dealership, like I've done before. It's all glass, and I know where the sun is. I have an app on my phone that tells me where the sun's going to go. And so I'll know exactly at 3 o'clock where the sun's going to be, so I can get some readings and decide, am I going to use the window light, or is the window light going to cause me issues? So again, when you're using window light, right, during the day, it's pretty much the same as a lot of my lights. Because I use daylight light settings on a lot of my shootings, a lot of outdoor shooting and all that stuff. And then I have filters that I can put in those lights if I want to change the color of the light, and I have lights that will actually adjust colors. These two lights are daylight balanced, so they're not bicolor lights, so I'd have to gel those to get bicolor lights. These lights in my studio are bicolor, these key lights by Elgato, but they're not RGB. Those lights are bicolor. And then I have some other Godox lights. I have some Photo-Diox lights that are daylight balanced as well. So I have to use that light meter to find out how bright the light is, what my aperture needs to be. And I love that light meter. I even have a spot meter that I purchased so I can look at light even when I'm doing like a landscape photograph. I can see exactly what the exposure is in the sky, so I can use a filter to bring that down so I can get a nice, beautiful photograph. I have some filters to do that. So white balance is important because your camera doesn't know exactly what the light is. You have different settings like daylight, tungsten, all of those light settings. But if you do a white balance, you can get the perfect balance of light. Now, I don't do a lot of white balancing for shots in a dealership because, again, I'm going to have to make a number of adjustments to that. I will set my camera and to daylight if we're using my daylight lights, and then I will adjust from there. And if I feel like anything's off a little bit in the monitors, then I'll actually get out and do some light balancing. And again, all the cameras can be light balanced. I use a light balance card. You want to put that right where your subject is. So if you're doing a talking headshot, you want that in the same light that they're in, and then you want to use the white balance features in your camera. And most of the cameras that I know have a white balance feature. You take that shot, and then you can go in and use that photograph as your white balance. And when you do it all the time, you can get pretty fast at it. And maybe one of these shows will do a post show and talk about doing white balance, because Matt and I are going to do a white balance at the venue because he's never really properly balanced all of those cameras. And I'm going to help him white balance all the cameras in that venue. And that just makes the LUTs work a lot better that they're using on their Blackmagic design cameras. Because again, if your white balance is off, a LUT will look one way when you purchase it and a complete different way when you drop it into your Blackmagic design camera or your monitor, because the camera white balance is off. So the screen is going to be skewed based on what the white balance is, because those screens project what the camera's seeing. So I hope that answers your question. And I did my best. Good to see you here. DJ Ware, always nice to have you. Sorry I missed you earlier. I think DJ Ware says, let's see. I had a drone, worked on it, flied for almost 32 hours at a time. Cool. A military drone. My guy I worked with used to be in high-tech planes, and they were running military drones. That's pretty cool. Not sure what that meant. I guess, yeah, new meaning for drop lighting. And Freddie's reminding me about the HyperDeck update. Thank you, Freddie. And I will make sure I put a link for that adapter right here for you, Tony, and probably email you as well. So, okay, so I'm going to shut down the chat here and finish by telling you I got an email today from the dev store, DVE store here in Washington. They originally answered my question that they had a shipment coming today. And so I was number 17 on my HyperDeck shuttle order, HyperDeck Shuttle HD. And I got a shipping alert today. So I haven't tracked it yet. I don't know when it's going to get here. But the exciting news is I'm going to have my hands on, hopefully by next Tuesday's live stream on the shuttle. You guys are going to be able to see it. We're going to play with it in the live show as long as it gets here in time. That's my big announcement. So I'm excited about that. And my video that I did here on the channel for my post show on the shuttle is one of my best performing ever live streams yet, especially with not just the people that were on that was huge, the people that were in the chat and the people who were viewing it, but also the response to that has been incredible. So my decision to purchase the shuttle, do some training videos on it, make sure that we break down all of the use of that and how you can use it, and then figure out how I'm going to use it in my studio. We will be talking a little bit about that device, and you're going to see a video series here on my channel very soon on the Blackmagic design HyperDeck Shuttle HD. So again, it's not a keyed device, so you can't do motion graphics with a key channel. It has an HDMI out, so you can bring videos into your live stream. You can also, if you wanted to, you could put the menus on the screen. You can also do some other incredible things. And the slowdown features are going to be great for people that want to just do some manual slow-mo. It has some things built into it that the other HyperDecks do not have. With that knob, and it fits on your desk. So I'm really excited about that. So we need to get over to the post show. I'm going to be late if I don't say goodbye. Again, in the post show, we're going to talk about why creativity is so important today. I'm going to be showing you some stuff here. We're going to look at a book I just bought. There's some things I want to use that book for that is going to help us have a conversation about creativity, shots, angles, and lighting. And so that's going to be exciting. That's going to be in the post show, and that's going to start here as soon as we can get out of this one and into the other one. So again, guys, thank you so much. Continue to put your comments if you're watching this later. I'd love to find out if you have a drone or you don't have a drone, or if there's any questions that you would like to have answered about some of the tools I had tonight. And I will try to get those links in the video by the end of this evening after I get a chance to rest after the post show. So thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios. It's great to have you with me. It's great to talk these new announcements and how to save space inside your home studio or an office studio. So until next time, which would be the post show if you want to join me, it's another live tonight. If not, I will see you guys hopefully very soon. Thank you again so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the post show or next week for those of you that are going to leave tonight. So thank you. Have a great week, and I love the new sign I bought. Make today beautiful. So do something to make what's left of your today or tomorrow beautiful. You do have influence on the people around you, and you can make a difference just by understanding that you have that potential and that ability to make a day beautiful. So I'm Keith, Life Journey Production Studios, and I'll see you in the post show.